Thank you. Calling us to order here. This is a workshop. Today is the 24th of August, and we're in the Public Works building for a citizen workshop. The way we'll conduct this is we're going to talk about Farmdale. They're out on the west end in front of Sugar Sands. We have this. We'll probably have an extra one.
I got an extra one.
Pass it around. So what we're going to ask is we're going to talk about it with the developers here to answer questions for us as well as for you guys. And then when I call for citizens' comments, will be after y'all have heard all of the talk about it. And then y'all can come up and just like we normally do at the podium, state your name and your address, and we'll move forward from there. So,
Are they allowed to speak directly to the developer with their questions? Perfect.
yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask the developer to come in. I can't remember the name. I'm so sorry.
Mr. Faison, Brent.
Brent.
Yeah, sorry, Brent. I just couldn't remember your name. We've met once though. So, you want to give us a little rundown of
Mr.
your
Mayor,
plans?
Commissioners, Council and staff, thank you. My name is Brent Faison. I'm the owner and managing partner for the 227-acre project, and I'm here tonight to try and answer or address any questions or concerns about the pending phases that we have.
So you want to tell them a little bit about y'all's layout on this, what y'all want to annex in?
What are we looking at? Okay. Okay. So I've been on this project for 8 years. The first phase was completed, it was fully permitted and been under construction for about 4 years. We're probably 80% built out there. The next two phases have conditional DOs from Bay County. The contingency in those is providing sewer and water from the city of Mexico Beach. So we, for several months now, we have offered multiple solutions, and nothing has been addressed. Those solutions are everything from non-annexation to annexation to a joint annexation with the St. Joe Company, and really just want to find out what these concerns are and address them to see if we can't get over this for Mexico Beach and for ourselves.
Okay.
So, I mean, the next two phases, if you have this is the next phase. It's all residential. That'll be, like I said, 40 to 45 single-family units, and then the 7.14 acres along the highway. That's all commercial there. Again, we've offered solutions, everything from annexing to non-annexing, so whatever I can do to talk about it to alleviate fears and let them know.
All right, so at the table we'll start, and Clint, do you have any new information since we've talked to?
Yeah, well, we basically did the run on how much the evaluation, if we did annex the property, what the Avalon taxes would be for 45 units. And I believe you did Chris, did you do calculations?
Yeah, if they built 45 homes in there, the average value of the homes at $800,000, the city would receive approximately $207,000 in ad valorem taxes every year.
And also, if we do annex, they have, like you just mentioned, Brett mentioned, they have the conditional development order. If we did do annex this, we would be taking it pursuant to the permitting and everything that they got in Bay County.
Is there a height variation that we're dealing with?
I believe.
We entitled this through the state, but we went through with Mexico Beach and Tyndall Air Force Base. It's in our documentation, all the covenants and restrictions for any owner that comes through that project now for perpetuity. We did the height restrictions that were to Mexico Beach. So nothing, I believe, is at 48 feet?
Yes.
Yeah, nothing over 48 feet.
That's
And most of the homes were capped, or the Gulf front homes were capped at 35, and then everything behind it could go 48, but we made sure and appreciate the height restrictions, so we stayed.
and that is part of your conditional development order, the
But 48 is only commercial.
I was gonna
Residential is
say.
32.
Yeah.
We have mixed use. mixed use in Mexico Beach is 40.
It's under an entitled PUD through the state, so.
So they can go above our,
Because of the PUD.
So you have commercial property, you're saying that that's gonna be
Under 48 feet, everything is designed, yes.
residential also?
Correct.
Which is good.
And again, my engineer has worked on this project since the mid-80s. Everything from golf courses, casinos, and developers went around and tried to get this done. And I know well enough that we went with our hands out to Tyndall before this ever started to say, if we're gonna do this, is there a way we can do it with you? And they appreciated it, and they worked with us on that. But that was the difference in getting it done versus prior efforts.
Brett, maybe I'm missing something. You brought proposals to Mexico Beach for annex?
There's been multiple proposals sent over the last several months, yes. The first was, and, well,
And then we had a change, we had an election, and it all just kind of got pushed back. I'm just being honest.
Where are all the proposals at?
I have them right here.
Oh,
so apparently none of them came to y'all prior, and none of them's come to
Well,
us since.
They were going to be, it was going to be presented to the board, but then we had the election and everything got pushed back. And then that's when, with the new mayor, we had a meeting with them, and we're having this workshop now, and we're moving forward.
again, the first phase was done 6 or 7 years ago under completely different set of circumstances. We didn't annex it, it really didn't come up. I understand the city's benefit, the citizens' benefit if we annex in. Therefore, we sent, obviously one proposal is if the city just doesn't want us, then tell us that. We'll do the same things we did before, pay the 25% surcharge on impact fees and do that. That doesn't make sense for the city. So the other proposals that have come in, we came in with the St. Joe Company and sent written legal correspondence and agreement down here with the St. Joe Company and ourselves because they only have 3 of their 13 phases of their property. They only have capacity reserved for that many. So basically, we got to St. Joe and we said that we can provide the capacity needed for their next 10 phases and for our phases and go that route. That was having us not annex in. However, it provided the capacity for St. Joe and for us forever. And that didn't get addressed. And then the latest that Clinton has, basically, we've stated, we met face to face last week, is we will annex in these 2 pieces in return for service of sewer and water. As soon as we get our COs are issued on residential, CAs are issued on commercial. As soon as we get those, we'll annex into the city. And that's what we're waiting on response from this time.
is there a lot more to it, asking questions like who's gonna take care of street maintenance,
That's all,
sidewalks?
they're private roads, it's private roads that the HOA has handled. Within the development agreement, the body work, there's, as far as infrastructure, lift stations and things like that, yes, all that will be addressed.
So, let's make it clear, everything here is not being asked to be annexed in. It's just the red and the yellow.
No, we talked about this,
Yeah, we talked
the
about
blue stuff is under, U.S. Fish under federal guidelines, it's put in conservation perpetuity. We can't develop it, I know people have heard that it'll never be developed. That is in conservation perpetuity, and if we can annex that in, I'll do it the same as with the red and the yellow. It's just, with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, they may not allow that, I don't know, but it will never be developed on, and if you're worried about connectivity, you can use that spine road for connectivity for annexation and not worry about it. We've got instances, precedents, Bay County's, Panama City's gone and used railroads for 10 or 15 miles to go annex things in. So there is connectivity. Even if we couldn't annex the blue in and had to remain in conservation, you have your connectivity with that spine road.
Isn't there a statute, Florida statute that says there has to be a touch of Mexico Beach on that land?
Well, you would have that.
if you did not annex the conservation land?
Well, you would have Mexico Beach here, coming to here, up Spine Road to there.
You're saying the Spine Road would hit the yellow area, the residential area, that's what you're
Well, the neighboring property that St. Joe owns is annexed into Mexico Beach, so it's contiguous. And you would, if you came across the yellow, you could then go up our main driveway and hit the red. There's legal connectivity there.
And
I'll be glad to annex it in if we can, I don't care.
That's, in terms of that statute that you mentioned, that's it. If the county was against this and they were going to fight it on us, that would be a defense that they would have to say, no, you can't annex it. But if the county didn't care and didn't put up a fight, it's like Windmark. Windmark's, there's a big stretch of county in between Port St. Joe and Windmark.
But it does abut, because this is city, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is already city.
Correct. Yeah, St. Joe annexed it years ago. If there's other concerns like capacity, let me know, because there's not any. We've shown your rolling 3-month average during the height of the season right now is 38% of your capacity. We have shown the ability with Bay County, the other wholesale users on the AWT plant, we can get the necessary capacity from the other wholesale users on that system. So that there is no capacity issue whatsoever. Our engineers have worked with Mexico Beach's engineers, and we've done all the studies to show if these were built out, what are the limits that would need to be used. All that data is there, and there is no capacity issue.
I don't have any of that data. I would
I
like,
did talk with Bay County today about the capacity and everything, and we're good there. He's sending over those numbers to me tomorrow.
Yeah, Buchanan and Harper's our engineer of record. They worked with, I believe Dewberry's y'all's engineer, but that data's been presented.
Okay, so when we spoke, we talked about the land that's across the street, the 120 acres there. What would be the disadvantage of us if we annexed it? What would be any disadvantage of y'all annexing that as well? That way it's already all annexed, you're prepared for your water and everything for that, instead of coming back later and saying, well, we're gonna build here and we're gonna develop this. We need to, annex.
The main issue, it's so far out of what's going to go on across the road over there, I have no idea. We're talking with public-private partnerships. I don't know that would, based on but I won't touch the other side of that road for years. So I can't sit here and say, I don't know what's going over there. But there could be a public-private partnership with the government. Other things like that I can't go ahead and voluntarily annex versus what we know we've got planned and staged and ready to go.
So there's no PUD on that one?
It is part of the overall PUD. It's part of the overall entitlement, yes. But you have to take it, the whole PUD is sitting there, but you have to get individual development orders, just like we're doing on these, to start a new phase of development. So we wouldn't be able to do anything over there without y'all knowing about it, just like I'm saying on the yellow and the red right here.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, I know previously when they came and got the water from Mexico Beach, paid the 25% and didn't annex in the other part. That part we can't annex in. The only way we could annex that in any time would be all of the people in there agreeing. If one said no, that would have been because those lots have been sold. Okay, so once the lots have started selling in this, there's no annexing.
Well,
correct.
we're preventing that because yes, on this first phase, we put up a letter of creditor cash for the amount of the horizontal infrastructure. That way we could go ahead and sell those lots. We could do the same thing here, but if one of those 43 or 45 lot owners said I don't annex, then they could stop the whole thing. So we're going to pay to put it in first, put it in the ground, annex it in, and then we'll close the lots, and then the city I couldn't be prevented from annexing into the city. So that safeguard is there.
How big is this commercial area? Just because I'm not good at doing
That
this
is
scale.
7.14 acres.
7.14. And I don't know if this is an appropriate question, but do you know what's going to go there yet?
I have ideas, yes.
Ideas, but anything for prime time?
Right.
Anything for prime time?
It's commercial, so, I mean, it would,
Could be anything.
restaurant, hospitality,
So you're thinking of a hotel, is what I've heard.
hospitality would fall under that category,
Yeah.
but other things too, but restaurants, we have, I don't want to sell any more of this land. We have people wanting to do build-to-suits or ground leases. So that's, we would control the property or the land under it.
So nothing concrete, just,
I'm working, I need some letters to get done with
Yeah.
hospitality and some restaurant stuff, yes.
We're always asking about a grocery store. Would there be a possibility of a grocery store?
Okay, what I'm working on this side of the road would be one, but I'm going to Las Vegas in February to the National Grocers Convention. I want a grocery store as bad as everybody in this room, but some may not, but it would, you know, it would be good, and that is the main thing that I'm going to try and figure out if we can get on this north side of the road. Now, there are other public-private partnerships discussions going on, but I want a grocery store as bad as everybody.
What is the size of the lots when the 45 houses will be?
They're going to, I'm guessing 70 by 80, something like that.
Below what we normally.
They'll be very similar to the interior lot sizes in phase one that are on the plat.
So will they be restricted on the contractors there? Or-
Well, the restrictions that we'll have are build times, just like we did in phase one. We don't want people speculating, just like they did in 04, 05, 06, just flipping dirt. They have to build, and you see evidence of that out there now. We have several contractors locally that we know, and we put on our website as approved contractors, but if somebody came in from out of the area and said, we want to use this person, then we can vet them, and if they have a reputable reputation, then as long as they get through the architectural guideline process, then they can do so. But 80% of those 64 homes out there are being built by 4 or 5 people.
So who is Farmdale? Tell us a little bit about who you guys are.
Farmdale is an LLC.
Okay, who's all
we-
in your LLC? What are we dealing with exactly, besides you?
George Duran, Zach Farrell, and then another gentleman from Orlando that everybody knows. And I've done real estate with him for a long, long time.
So. Okay, does anybody else at the table have any questions?
Well, any suggestions that maybe we'll look at the proposals or?
Yeah, we should, I've got, I think you gave me a copy and I've been reading on it.
But yeah, you need, I'm here to get direction from the board is how you want to proceed.
Well, you know, there won't be any voting or anything bringing it to the table until we all had an opportunity to make sure we're familiar with everything.
And I can send you copies as soon as I get back to the office.
Y'all want to move to the floor? I mean, we can come back and discuss after, but we can hear from our
He
citizens.
would make sure one of those documents, I know at the end, had non-annexation, just, I mean, redline that for anybody's review to know that is
That was
not
the
the option
revised.
that we talked about, so.
All right. Anybody from, yes,
Yes.
come on up.
Okay. I just, my time, am I speaking again?
You can talk to all of them, we're open, we just want to make
I
sure
was
you
just
get
wondering.
on camera there.
The previous builders here, that built the first phase that you've got out there that sold out now.
Yes, sir.
Zach and them sold to individuals. But the city, because y'all would not meet our height restrictions, y'all chose not to come into the city. Then you asked for water and sewer, and we furnished it. We're getting no tax base at all.
I understand. I mean, you got a 25% surcharge at that the prior, I mean, again, this was 6 or 7 years ago.
Yes, sir.
They agreed to it, and that's
I'm
what
just
was.
pointing this out, and I'm asking the question at the same time. We.
What's your name, sir?
Gary, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
Brown face, sure.
We, the citizens here, are the ones who lost from what happened last time. It was a bad decision on the previous administration, in my opinion, to have ever, allowed that. But if we go in here now, what is the advantage in the city allowing y'all to come into our city? The last time they furnished y'all, well, I'm saying y'all, you were not even a part of it.
No, I've been the managing member since day one.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the city agreed to furnish y'all water, sewer, and still we, the citizens of the city of Mexico Beach, still maintain that service today, but we don't get the benefit of any taxes from y'all out there because y'all were hired. Now,
Because we
why?
didn't annex.
Yeah, well, y'all didn't annex
Right.
in because y'all wouldn't meet our height restrictions.
Okay.
Uh,
I
Why?
mean, I'm not gonna
I mean,
agree to that, but we're under
yes.
48 feet across the board.
Yeah. Why are you agreeing to lessen your height restrictions now? Or is it because, and I'm asking questions now, is it because Tyndall will not allow y'all to build any higher now? Or could y'all still go as high as you did on this developed area and choose not to come into the city? Or I'm asking questions.
I don't think there's a route, and I'm here with my hands out to get into the city, number one.
Yes, sir.
But I've had an office over here on the Forgotten Coast for 19 years.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, when I see what's invested in Huntsville, I'm glad that I'm glad you're not going to see that. I hope it maintains, but basically, I see we're going to annex in, it's going to increase your tax base a good bit.
Oh, yeah, it would have had we got this other too, yeah, I mean, I'm just asking questions now, why y'all changed, and what can we look forward to in the future if we do, go with y'all, I mean, there's not
I'm
gonna be
looking for a
anything.
solution,
Yes, sir,
because we can go lawyer up, spend $1 million on lawyers real quick and fight this thing to nobody's advantage. We've offered 3 solutions of which we think is a good one for the city. That's what they've asked for. And, just the most recent prior administration here a few months ago, we sat down at the table and we came up with this agreement of what we were talking about, and everybody was happy. And now we're several months later, it's just lagging. We're just trying to, we put the
this is the
solution.
first time I've heard anything about, what about your land across the road? Y'all own all the way across
Yeah, 100.
98?
Yes, yes. That's what we were just talking about.
What are your plans for that?
I want a grocery store over there very badly.
Okay. well,
However, at this point, there's been talks of doing a private-public partnership with Tyndall, other things. I don't know what's going to go across the road, but as I stated a minute ago, the city of Mexico Beach is going to know about whatever we do. But I can't annex it in at this point because it may be 5 or 10 years before I get to doing anything over there. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Now, how many acres are on that side?
There's about 120 over there, of which probably plus or minus 40 are usable.
Okay, I was just concerned about the fact that we didn't get anything out of y'all last time, and this time you're offering and wondering what the reconsideration.
Again, I know but the 25% surcharge, that was part of the Florida statutes that we pay. We agreed to pay the 25% surcharge above and beyond. So, and that was what happened last time, so.
All right, well, I appreciate it.
What happened, well, what I had heard was that we had to do that. We did not have to do that.
No, we didn't, it was a bad choice.
It was. And today, we don't have to do this.
No, ma'am, but I mean, if it
We
would
don't have to
benefit
give
the
them,
city.
we do
then I
not
would
have
be
to
for
give
it.
them water, we do not have to give them sewer. We do not.
I
I
agree.
mean, that's what I was told. It's up to Mexico Beach, because,
Well, we can go spend money and pull it straight through Tyndall. I mean, we can, but again, it's not a logical solution.
and I don't think anybody's arguing here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're just stating some facts,
Yeah,
okay? We just, I work on facts, and I want people to know facts, so don't come and say, well, we have to do that. We have to provide this. Well.
But I've never said, I've not
No, you
said
have not, no,
that.
sir, no, you have not. But I verified and clarified and made sure I knew what was going on before I came tonight, because I don't want anybody saying, well, you have to give us. We'll just pay you 25 extra %. You have to give it to us. There's no have-tos here. This is our city. We're going to make that decision based on all the evidence we get. And hopefully, you know, we'll all come to an agreement and life goes on. And we've got plenty of capacity to take on all of that. Okay? So, just so that you know. Yes, ma'am. You can stand up, please. Hey, Sandy, can you stand up, Miss Jolly, and
Yes, hi.
come over here so we can hear you?
You want me over here?
That's okay. Wherever. Right there where Mr. Woodham was a great place.
As well, so.
You did? Okay, cool.
I'm Cindy Jolly, and my question is, I understand you don't know what the future plans are because of future investors or whatever. But if you're wanting to annex into the city and be a part of the city, then why not annex the whole thing? You're either in or you're out.
Because
Piecemeal.
when I've got raw land sitting out there for the foreseeable future until I know what I want to do with it, it would be, number one, the taxes are going to increase about a third based on the millage rate. And number two, again, we are in discussions on some other partnerships that aren't just private. It's private, public-private partnership stuff, and I don't know how that would play out.
Well, and I guess because it is the city, we're taking a risk in annexing, not knowing. But if you look at the whole property, whatever future endeavors you have, if you know it's going to be a part of the city, they take that in consideration. I mean, anything we buy, we pay taxes on. And then next year, it's going to be a little bit more taxes. But to piecemeal and say, okay, we want this section in, you know, and then say, well, we've got other things we want to do with this, and the city, we don't want you involved in that. You know, if this is truly a partner, I shouldn't say partner, if this is truly an investment and something to where you want to be a part of Mexico Beach, then I say, let's look at the whole thing collectively and say, okay, let's annex the whole thing.
Not doable at this time. It's just not proven the business decision, basically. I mean, what we've got, again, each time we do a new phase, if public showed up and want to do a grocery store across the street, we have to do another phase of development, just like the red or the yellow, and go through all the approvals to get that. So I'm sure that if that happens, then we're going to be right back here looking at annex these pieces in as we go.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, that would be a bad business decision to annex the whole thing at one time.
It could prevent me from doing something with the public sector in the future.
Right, plus taxes.
Correct.
But the original one, the units out towards the waterfront, those were not annexed.
Correct.
So what is that considered, a unincorporated area?
Bay County.
Bay County?
Bay County
Okay.
unincorporated.
But is that, what would stop that from annexing?
It's not going to happen because you're going to have to get 64 individual owners.
Right. But I mean, are there
Now, I don't know if you
restrictions?
could go and annex in individual lots if somebody, I don't know, that's a legal
Right.
question, but if lot number 4 and 7 said, I want to annex in,
Right.
they maybe could, but,
It would have to be the whole thing.
okay. Okay.
So how many units in this section is 40?
There's
45.
64 in this, the first one here. There's going to be 40 to 45 here,
Okay,
and then this is the commercial.
7, 8.
And correct, yes.
So-
We need commercial.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is the only disadvantage to, an advantage to us, if you could do the 120 acres, is that we'd have an even more tax base, even though it's dry land.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be much because it's not assessed at very much at this point. When it matures and gets developed, then it's going, just like these 43 or 45 lots, I mean, they're probably worth,
So
I mean, they're probably assessed at 100 and something thousand, but with that house on there, they're going to be $700,000, $800,000.
it wouldn't be to a disadvantage for us, because we would get some tax base off of it, even though it's empty land. But it's a disadvantage for you because you would have to pay more taxes.
It could limit me on, more so than the taxes, because the taxes aren't that much, as I said, as it's vacant. It could limit me on something in a public-private partnership down the road.
Well, I wouldn't understand that. Can you explain that to me? Because I'm not a business person as far as land and stuff goes, so
Well,
if you
if we
had
ended
to
up doing a
educate me
partnership
on it.
with a public entity.
Okay, it's the same land, whether you're annexed in or not, it's the same piece of property.
Right.
Okay. So how would that?
If we entered into a partnership with a public entity,
Okay.
then there could be limitations that would limit if it were annexed or not. So I just don't know the answer, it's so far out there.
Limit you whether you're annexed or not.
How does that work? Maybe you can explain a little bit about, I just heard a number of 207,000, I think you said 207.
The full 227 acres on each side of the road combined is entitled through the state for 400 residential units and 200,000 square feet of commercial. Those residential units can be single family, multifamily, townhouses, and then the commercial is 200,000, capped at 200,000.
So how does it work if, let's throw a scenario out there. You start this in 24, you get done in 25, let's just say. So in 25, you have, out of the 40 houses,
Yes.
you have, say, 20 of them built. What happens to the other 20 lots? How does the tax system work on that?
So, let me try to back up. If we were to get the approval to serve sewer and water, we would go out and we would put in the horizontal infrastructure, the roads, the stub outs for sewer and water. Each lot owner, when we sell a lot, they have 2 years to begin construction and one 12-month period thereafter to have a CO on that house. So that's 36 months total that they have to get that house CO'd. Some people may start in 24, some people may start in 25, some people may start in 26. But as soon,
So our tax base would vary.
it's gonna stagger up. It's just gonna stagger up when those houses get burned.
It's just like our vacant lots from the hurricane slowly building back, our tax base goes up.
Come on up.
Carter Dorsch, I just have a question regarding the road work on 98. I don't know if y'all have planned to do anything as far as turn lanes on either side, because if you're adding 43 to 45 lots, that's 90. I mean, with anticipating that they're gonna build the same things they did in the original phase, which is what, 2,500 plus square feet, is what y'all's covenant
The
said?
second phase, it could go down to maybe 2,200 and up, but it's gonna be in that same wheelhouse, yes.
2 to 3 cars per house?
Yes.
So 90 to 135.
Well,
cars
2 to 3 cars per house,
At
yeah.
any given time, we'll say.
Yeah.
So,
So if you've noticed, the speed limit from the canal to our entrance has changed in the past month.
Yeah.
That is because of us in St. Joe going to DOT. The lady's name, the intention was to go all the way to the center line, but they didn't see construction down there.
yeah.
I'm going to speak with her next week. I can give you her name, and we're going to ask them and probably get it to go from our entrance all the way to Tyndall to reduce that speed limit down. As far as connecting, we have to get what are called driveway permits from DOT. They're only they only allow so many based on the width of the road there, or the length of the road. So, again, that's going to come into the north side of the road, but I promise you, we're not going to get more than 2 crossings going across there that could connect this property. We may only get 1, I don't know yet, but the speed limit is something we are controlling on the plastic.
I'm more concerned just because you already have.
Are you an engineer who?
No, I'm a real estate agent.
Okay, you work with Zach?
Yes.
Okay.
You already have what? How many lots are in the original phase?
64.
60?
60.
So, 2 cars there. Each house is $20, give or take. You know, some may have 3, some may have 1. It's more so you already have a gas station across the street, and then you have commercial use coming out there. You would have to implement some sort of.
Yeah, there'll be decel lanes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I was.
Yes.
Thanks.
And if that speed limit were 60 miles an hour, it's going to cost the amount of highway work that we would have to do. That's why it's a benefit to us. If they do slow that thing down, it eases up some of the parameters of that decel lane.
Yeah, I was just concerned because there's already been a few wrecks or accidents, I should say, outside of the gas station alone, right there. So I feel like you have to implement some sort of.
I used to live in that house back out in the woods for 6 years, and I could hear the motorcycles and cars when they hit the canal. They would go, and you could hear it 3 miles up on the bay.
But if you had 100 cars at any given time in the neighborhood, easily could cause an accident.
So, I'm guessing, I don't know this, but there could be a traffic signal out there in the future. There very well could be at one main crossing, whether that's on St. Joe or us, I don't know. Again, there's restrictions on distance between certain areas of traffic signals.
I was just concerned,
Sure.
you don't want anybody to get hurt. Thank you.
Ready, Nick?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a question that.
Who am I speaking with?
Huh?
Connie, state your name and where you live, please.
I don't want him to know.
Well, you just say the street, you don't have to give the number, how's that? We'll find you anyway.
That easy. What's your name?
Brent Faison.
Okay, well, friends now. Okay. All right, I probably need to ask the council because I'm dealing with rumor scuttlebutt that I heard around town back when the filling station came in out there. Now you tell I'm old filling station. Well, anyway, we're all old, so we all know what I mean. Okay. Is it true that we got into it with them because we didn't want to supply the water and stuff to them? And they came back at us that, well, we did for sugar stands, why can't we do it for them? And building stopped for a little while. Now, is that true? Does anybody
I
know?
can tell you that the Harold family that has that line of convenience stores, anyway, there was not a gas station in Mexico Beach for a long time after the hurricane.
Right.
I told you we didn't want to sell any land, we want to ground lease it. We sold it to them so they could get that gas station up and going. Yes, they didn't want to annex, but they worked it out, and I'm pretty sure they're already annexed in. They may have gotten some abatements on taxes for a year or two or something like that, but no, they're not to be annexed. I think they're already annexed in.
Because I'm just wondering.
Well,
They're not.
I don't know.
2-3 years before they annexed it was
Yeah,
an
they're gonna
agreement.
annex.
Can I answer that
Edison.
since I was on the council?
Yes, sir, that'd be great.
They gave I believe it was $8,000 per year to the city, for up to 3 years. Once they found out what their tax rate was going to be, they would annex into the city. So they are not annexed in now.
But they have
But it's
agreed,
coming up.
they have agreed to, they're consented to annex.
Right.
At 3 years, yeah, that's what I was thinking was.
Yep.
Well, could we face that same problem then with your property?
I'm not asking for 3 years, I'm saying as soon as we get our CO on these phase, then I'll put it in the agreement and sign it, that we'll annex in.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to know.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I know the answer. I know 1 or 2 things today.
Only 2?
Yep.
All right, Kim?
Tim Linderman, Brett.
Brett, yes, sir.
So, is there a timeline that's associated with this? Do you have to have a decision from the city?
But I would appreciate, feedback, because we've been doing this, there's been a stall for several months, understandably so, but I would like this to move forward as soon as possible. But my entitlements, no, we can renew those for 50 years.
What I'm wondering is, I don't know when you're planning to start building, if we have time to do some investigations, some studies, bring in some of the city's expert engineering services before, I know you're not making a decision tonight, but before this is all done. And so it sounds like.
It's already been done with your engineering staff.
So, and I don't doubt that. But I heard the capacity mentioned. Is that present capacity? Or does that capacity include planned developments like Sweetwater, future phases of St. Joe development?
I can speak on behalf of capacity for any future phases of my full entitlement, and I believe as well as what St. Joe's done, I believe that was calculated separately into some agreements that have been provided to the city.
Okay. I don't think that's correct, based on information that I have.
Well, where is the information? Because I've seen it in writing.
Yeah, I've seen it too, and actually I can give Chris what I have from Doug Graber in the past, because I did the capacity assessment when the mayor was doing his State of the City, and based on the numbers we were looking at, sewer capacity was the limiting factor. Now, we can increase the city input, is my understanding, they can raise it, but there's a certain limit to the size of the pipes and some other things. In addition, there may be costs other than lift stations from a water tower so that you have water coming into that community at the rate that you need. There's things that need to be considered that, so that's all I'm elaborating on. If the city did not provide you water and sewer, what are your options?
I'd rather not discuss those.
Okay, so,
But you've heard from the mayor and I've provided in writing through the county, capacity's not an issue.
I'm not, I know you're being put on the defensive here. I would not want to be in your shoes facing this group
Yeah,
here.
well,
But-
let's not put them on the defensive. This is a discussion, guys.
I'm trying not to.
But Tom, yeah, I mean, if we could, if that information, that is out there, if it could be looked at in an efficient manner, I don't want to be here 3 months from now, come back in and do the same thing.
Right.
Appreciate it. Efficiency.
So a couple more questions. The streets and sidewalks, are the streets designed, I don't know what the county's
They're private.
designed, but are they sufficient enough for parking of vehicles on the streets and allow emergency vehicles to come in? Okay, so, because I don't know what the county standards are. And I think we need, I'll speak to the council, I think we need to take a close look at support costs versus what we're getting in tax and some of the things you're going to have to provide to get them up and running. And I'm talking about police, fire. At some point, I don't know if we'll take over streets and sidewalks or not. If that's looked at.
Like the girl.
We're not
We'll have-
We're not going to take over
Yeah,
the streets. We have an interlocal agreement with the county, and we would have to provide, we'd have to provide fire service either way, whether they annex into the city or not through an interlocal agreement with Bay County.
But you have to take a look at the cost. Even if we have to provide it, do we charge them for that?
That's what the taxes are for.
If they're annexed? I'm sorry. That's it, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And that was one of my first questions also, Tim, when I sat down. We need to weigh the cost versus the benefit. And that's what we were supposed to be getting some information regarding that.
Well, we know how much tax valuation is going to be.
So did we find out about the 4,500 feet of pipe and running the water so we don't have to do a
I
chlorine
believe
station?
Chris got a cost estimate of what that is.
Yeah, for the water line, it would be approximately $175 per linear foot. So if you run it 4,200 feet, that's $735,000. And that's a rough estimate because the contractor doesn't know how many valves would need to go in there. There's also could be some items that they run into during the construction phase. On the south side of Highway 98, there's fiber optic cable in there. So we definitely want to stay away from that. But $735,000 just for a rough estimate for that 4,200 feet.
So those 43 lots pay for that in 3 years by themselves.
So what is our cost, approximate cost, because they'll have to get chlorine state. What it is our end over here and ends over here. They're in the middle. So we can bring it into them here, but it'd have to go through being chlorinated. And so there's gonna have to be a station there, which will be responsible for I'm assuming this.
Yeah, it's in the agreement. We purchased it and y'all maintained it.
Yeah, maintaining it. Plus we have the cost of the chlorine to chlorinate the water. So for that station. So I just want everybody to be up front to know that we would have that extra cost as well.
But you'd have the water customers.
Yeah, I mean, the revenue from the utilities plus the the tax from the annexation as well as the impact fees are gonna, that's municipal revenue for those types of annexes.
We just need to know how that cost is gonna impact us because of the chlorination and the repairs, and I guess, I'm sure people have to monitor, make sure it's working properly, and all the things you have to do to test the water, make sure it's, my nephew does that, he's real good at that, I'm not. But, you know, all that testing you gotta do and make sure everything's good, so there's some, Lisa, I think, is next. And again, this is just a discussion, kicking around the can here, and everybody knowing what's going on.
Yes, ma'am.
In,
Who am I
It's
speaking
Lisa.
with?
Lisa Logan,
Okay, please.
in 2019, y'all went to Bay County and asked for the cap on the residential and commercial to be lifted, and they gave that to you. From 195 residential to up to 400, and from 50,000 square feet commercial to 200,000 square feet. So that was lifted, and the map that was included in that, and I have that document at home, showed all of this was in conservation. And that's what we were told in 2016.
Who told you?
Uh,
I mean, I've been through every state and federal agency to permit this thing and mitigated it off-site, so I don't know what maps you're looking at, but that's,
well, this was in that document. I have it at my house. It came offline from Bay County. So, then in early 2022, last year, y'all went to Bay County and applied for this conservation strip. I mean, this
development order, yeah.
you got that, and to put in infrastructure in this. You got that. And then a few months
No,
later.
we don't have that. We don't. That's a conditional DO on both of those pieces that are contingent upon the sewer and water service from Mexico Beach.
Okay, so it is a contingent clause.
Conditional
And then
yes.
you have another application that is under consideration for a 95-room hotel and 24,000 square foot retail center.
Up to, because we've got a couple of restaurants. I don't know if it's going to end up being, I had to assign a maximum square footage estimate for the estimates for the condition, for the DO. We know what a hotel size, we know what that size is, but as far as if it's going to be one or two restaurants or one restaurant and a little retail shop, I don't know.
But it's up to that, and it's all in this little
Correct.
strip along the highway.
Correct. And there's a stormwater pond there also to manage that.
And this says existing PUD boundary. So what is going in here?
That's all conservation too under Farmdale.
Okay, so that remains conservation. And then you're putting 45
The
plus or minus
only
houses.
thing there is that's a stormwater pond right there, but everything else right there, that's all conservation too. It's not part of this because it's already been done.
Included with this,
Correct.
yes. Okay, so we have commercial use that wants to come in here, and that application is pending.
Correct.
You've got a little bit of conservation land here.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 45 houses coming in here,
40, 45.
45
Correct.
plus or minus. So you've got 64 down here, another 40, 45
There won't be
here.
more than 100 single-family lots behind that gated entryway. That'll count. There'll never be another.
How many?
100. Well, if you put 64 plus 40-ish, whatever that is.
Okay, so, but you have the capacity to build even more on the other
The
side.
entitlements.
On the other
Correct.
side.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we could come in here and permit apartments right here instead of hospitality and put them all on there like one of those St. Joe buildings. We could fit, if we could fit 200 units over here, we could put them there also, but I want to get some commercial going along the highway and then whatever comes across the road in the future, I don't know. But it is entitled, yes.
One of the things that I think you need to understand is, up until 2 weeks ago, none of us knew anything about
That's
this.
not my
No,
I've been
And see,
transparent,
listen to your
I've been
answer.
transparent for months and years with everything that's happened down here. So don't go
Only
there.
with people who didn't share it with us.
Well, those
So-
are elected officials.
So-
I'm sorry. That's not my concern, I'm sorry.
There was never any
And I-
agreement. You
I
gave us-
am disturbed, and a lot of other people are disturbed, that we're just discovering this. And it disturbs me greatly that you don't want to say what will happen if we turn you down. Why would you not tell us?
I don't know, what I'm sitting here with my hands out trying to do what the city's benefit and asking as far as the annexation. If you turn me down, what, I mean, we can start getting into litigation. I don't want to do that. That doesn't help anybody. And I mean, rolling your eye, I don't know what my options are. I'd have to sit back and hunt and try to see what we need to do, but I'm here with my hands out to try and see if this will work.
There's and answer me for capacity. You said that you could get wholesale capacity?
Explain this to her, 'cause the
No,
capacity's not-
I'm asking.
Yeah,
We
we don't
did
have,
it
I did
twice.
check out, Lisa, we don't have capacity issue with what, St. Joe's up to the, what is it, 3 phase or 5 phase?
3 of the 13.
Yeah, we're okay there. Sweetwater, we're okay. This, we're okay on both sides of the street.
There
I
is
need to
not.
talk to you about that because.
He's sending me the stuff
Well,
tomorrow.
you-
That was like 4 o'clock today, so I didn't have, we didn't have
Ma'am,
time.
how can I answer the question? Please tell me. Please.
Okay, who'd like to talk next?
Alex Hogan, 425 7th Street. This is really not you. It's more direct. We look like we're a deer with the headlights shining. We don't know what the hell is going on. That's my perception. You know, all of a sudden we're having this workshop and we don't have anything. We got proposals that have not been presented to people.
Can I,
Alex, I would say one thing.
No.
There's been a lot of turnover. These guys have been responsive when I'm there.
I'm saying it's not your responsibility. It's here that we don't know what's going on. We've had this thing for how many years? 2, 3 years? Most people come in here, a lot of them come in here, they have this nice beautiful charts, and they have an outline saying, here's what it's gonna look like. You know, we're gonna have these streets. All of a sudden, we're coming here, and he's saying, well, he's gonna do 45, 43. We, and you, it's like, what's going on?
can I explain?
We don't have
Give me just a
answers.
minute. Give me just a minute.
We don't seem to have answers. I may be wrong. Maybe Mr. Wolf has all the answers. Maybe Adrian, maybe Miss Hamilton. Maybe you. You know what's going on, but we don't.
That's what we're here for tonight.
Yeah, but that's kind of late.
Yeah, well, let
No,
me,
it's
let me,
not
let me
There's no
talk,
decisions been made.
let me talk
How
about
can it be a
timeline.
decision? Because we don't have a plan. We don't know what's going on. We don't have any engineers here saying, Tommy or the people.
Right,
To
okay,
say,
you know what, before we ever vote on this, because this isn't a voting, this is to get the information out to you.
and I appreciate that, but I'm disappointed. I thought we were gonna get some type of briefing workshop, this was gonna happen. And actually, the only thing we're getting is a little
The
handout
only
that
thing we gotta
says
decide,
this.
only thing we
expect you
gotta
to
talk
give us
about is
The blueprint of what's going on, that's all.
We just need to, and now honestly, Alex, from my understanding, and Brett, you can correct me and do, we are not gonna have a whole lot to say about what they have on that land. All the PUD has been done through Bay County. They don't have to follow our our ordinances, they have to follow Bay County ordinances.
Oh, I understand that, but we do have control whether we annex it or we don't annex it.
Correct, and that's why we're talking
And
about
I'm just
that.
asking, well, we seem to be in the dark in this thing.
Okay, so I can tell you what I know. I found out about it when Mr. McCahill told me about it. And he said, hey, can you come and meet with these guys that won't annex in? That's when I found about it. Right before the meeting, Mr. Chris and I were talking, and he told me Doug had already sent a letter to him, which I didn't know about. So this all happened, I think that letter said March, didn't it? May. So I didn't know about it.
I can tell you anything I
Couple
know
weeks.
about it. in March, Mr. Baber contacted me, and I met with him and Mayor Kathy. And they explained to me what was going on. And they had presented a proposal, and it had annexation in it. And then everything, the election happened. I don't do something unless I'm instructed to do it by the city administrator and this council. And so it just sat there. So then you came on board, there was a lot of things going on, and I called Michael, I think it was after Doug had left. I called Michael and said, we have this on the table, we need to move on it one way or the other. And that's when it was me, you, and Michael in the conference room, had a meeting and discussed it, and that's when we decided we're gonna meet with these guys, and then here we are today.
Yeah, so that's how it actually has gone down. So, guys, y'all know as much as I do, really.
And
That's why I'm sharing it with you, because I found this out, 2 weeks ago, when we,
It was a little web
Yeah.
for that, but then we have other things going on, that got put on the back burner, and now here we are. No decisions have been made,
No, nothing's been made. That's why
and
we're
here we are.
learning. We gotta be informed. And, so, I didn't know anything about it. So we went through, I came in April, we went through May, went through June, went through July. Here we are in August, I found out about it. So we can't turn back time, we just do have to move forward, and we need to give this gentleman a fair chance to help us understand what he's asking us, and we need to take the chance, and he needs to take the chance, or the opportunity here to understand where we're coming from, and no decisions are being made. We're gonna educate ourselves about it before any decisions are made as well. So, who'd like to speak next? Mr. Bill? I'll get you next, okay?
Bill Hamilton. One thing that has not been addressed, put it in dollars and cents. Will the increased income from the property taxes cover all of the city expenses that we incur from police, fire, EMT, road maintenance, sewer maintenance?
That's a municipal budget, that's none of my business.
There is no road maintenance, it's a park. They're
Y'all
maintaining
It's your road, you
themselves.
maintain it, but the sewer lines would be ours, we have to maintain.
Eventually, we will take them over once at a certain time frame.
That would have increased a lot of liability to services we need to provide in your annex. And the question is, will the property taxes pay for it, or would it come out into the winter, and you'd have to raise the property tax on all the citizens in order to cover the expense?
We have an interlocal agreement with Bay County. We would have to provide fire service for them, whether they annex in or not. Our police department is Bay County Sheriff's Office.
We pay for it also, and if we require more deputies, that's gonna be increased cost.
That's true.
I spoke to the lieutenant the other day, and Bay County's already planning on increasing their deputies because of the growth over here. So we're gonna end up paying for it eventually
I
anyway.
understand these departments gonna be patrolling out their police from Tundra. Is that, am I right on that?
I have not
I don't
heard
know.
it. It doesn't have anything to do
I
with
don't
it.
think
It's in the city.
If the project is still supported and it doesn't cost the existing citizens any money, I don't think we need to support a development.
Mr. Hamilton, your question is a good question, but that's one that has to be answered
Yeah,
from
that's
this
what we
table.
have to
right here.
find out. That's what Chris will dig in, we'll get some answers. I'll make some
I
calls.
don't think there should be a vote until it's, put the pencil to it and see about it.
Agreed.
That's right. Okay, yes, sir, you can come up. Sorry, I've seen your hand several times. Just a little slow there.
Jim Bush, 130 Palm Street. I have two questions.
Yes, sir.
First one is if the council approves annexing the development, how does that, your development, support the intent of the comp plan, the next village comprehensive plan?
I don't know.
Okay.
Second, can you help me here?
I mean, it brings in commercial property potentially, that's part of the comp plan.
Right. But it can't go against the comp plan is my answer. It's nothing I can do is gonna go against the comp plan or it wouldn't be approved.
I'm talking about the intent of the comp plan, not the comp plan itself.
I don't see, I don't care about the intent, I have to go by the comp
Well,
plan.
the
not
intent of the
intent.
comp plan is what drives the comp plan.
But the comp plan is adopted and adjusted as needed over time.
Okay.
And so there's a comp plan that,
Based on the intent that the city approved. What the end goal of the comp plan is. Okay, well, that's fine. Okay, my second question is, the council has already approved 680 additional residential units that haven't been built yet. So who do you envision living in these $800,000 homes?
I don't know what 600 units you're talking about. Are you talking about
They've approved other
apartments?
developments that they've approved that have not been built yet.
I'm asking for 43 more, and I know who's going to buy those.
Okay, well,
I
I'm
can
saying,
build them
we
without-
know there's 680 additional being built.
Okay.
Okay, yours quoted cost on yours of 800,000. Who do you envision living in those?
I don't know.
Probably Californians, because they're gonna probably
Yeah,
come
no.
here to get away from it.
What we have seen, the biggest
Hurricane
influx
snow.
is people from, a lot of people from Walton County and Okaloosa County that have been over there for a long time, and they're tired of it, and they see that there's height restrictions here, and they're coming, there's quite a few of those. You can probably allude to what the demographic is, but
Yeah, I calculated last year, and this was for my office, obviously it may be different for somebody like Adrian. We had almost 40% of people that bought with us, whether it was primary or secondary, was from that Walton County, Okaloosa, Destin area. Whether it be another second home or another primary. Another good chunk of that's gonna be South Georgia. That was for years upon years, it's been a chunk of second homes, so I can imagine that would be another good chunk of there. And then from there going down the line, it was.
it's primarily southeastern drive markets, Birmingham, Nashville, but there's a lot of Texas people in here now because, I mean, they're everywhere now, but I can't really answer that for you, Jim.
Thank you.
Did I misunderstand? Because you got your permits from Bay County, does that mean you don't have to go by the city's variances?
Ordinances, you mean?
Pardon?
By the city ordinances?
Yeah, like the height restrictions and everything.
We're capped at 48 feet.
48.
Yes, sir.
And what
Nothing
is the
on,
city's?
nothing of those 400 houses or 200,000 square feet commercial will ever be over 48 feet. Ever.
Right, and people keep talking about the taxes on those 45, but the taxes on the commercial too.
Correct.
And like, and if the hotel goes in.
Bed
yeah,
taxes.
Bed taxes, yeah.
So we're seeing the, and that's what this is all about, so don't,
I appreciate it. Like I said, there's been a lag, but it hadn't been anybody's, it's just been, like you talked about. But
Yeah.
y'all addressed it quickly, and I appreciate it, so.
yeah. Yes, sir.
John Harold, 41st Street. Since you don't have to follow our codes, like our setbacks, you're already above our residential height.
We've got setbacks, I don't know, I could answer that question with an engineer, but I'm guessing our setbacks are probably near to what's in place in Mexico Beach, but.
Okay. Will there be an HOA in this zone of this development?
Yes. There's already an HOA that
Okay.
handles this,
All right.
and it would fold into here, yes.
And does that HOA allow for rentals?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just to clear this up. In Mexico Beach, the height restriction is 32 feet in all zoning districts except for general commercial and mixed use, which is at 48 feet.
Right.
But if they're building all just houses in one section, that's not a mixed use, is it?
It's a
That's
PUD.
residential.
It's a
It's
PUD.
PUD.
It's a PUD,
It is,
mixed use.
Doesn't go to 48.
yeah.
Oh, so.
My landlord lives here in Mexico Beach, if we can answer any questions, Ray Greer will come here and answer any of that technical stuff for you.
Okay. All right, any other questions, comments, concerns? Yes, ma'am.
It concerns me that we are providing services and not receiving any taxes by not annexing previously. And I know that those decisions, I watched plenty of those meetings during that time. But the other thing is, really engaging with Bay County and make sure whatever's going on, that we're networking, we're close with them, and we get our money from Bay County. There's a portion of services that we get, our taxes, because our taxes pay to them. So that is where we need to be sitting at the table and negotiating. That's where the population's gonna come into play. But we need to make sure that the services, we're gonna provide the services. We're gonna take care of citizens. We just need to calculate those numbers and make sure we know where we are, in providing that.
And via mutual aid agreements, we're gonna
Right,
provide it regardless. We might as well get paid for it.
So the expense is there, but still, it's an expense that we need to have our arms around and know what it is.
So I just want to say, because I don't want it to ever come out, on the record, it was said, we hold the cards here. We do not have to provide anything as far as sewer and water. That is up to us. Now, it's also up to us if we annex them in. So that's why we're here tonight. And I don't want it to be misconstrued that, oh, well, we don't annex them in, we're still got to do that. We don't got to. We don't have to. But I think it's beneficial for all of us to know what it's going to cost, weigh those things. I think annexing in is not a bad idea. But I too, this is my opinion, and we'll be talking a lot. It's all of it, not just red and yellow. It's the whole thing. And I would like personally to see this annexed. Yes, sir.
Okay, Bobby Powell. Yes. I got a concern. Okay. I'm hearing different views on stuff. If you annex into the city, you need to follow the city's codes, building codes. If it's 32 feet foot high, not 48.
No,
I understand you got a PUD, as you already laid out with the county. Do we see this PUD? Do we know it's gonna fall into our city code? That's my concern, because I'm hearing this and that, and this and that. Can you tell me that?
Does it fall under the mixed use category, under the PUD? I guess we need to get right here and hear and tell us.
I think we've got, what's their setbacks for the county and stuff like that. I mean, that's what they're concerned about.
Run out Bay Counties and see what it is, compare it.
Yeah.
But a PUD can have their own rules.
Exactly.
A PUD can have its own rules, whatever the county approved is
what's
Yeah, that's
good.
what
is what it is.
Well, that's what we
It's
need
a
to-
self-governing designation.
No, I didn't get an answer. I didn't get an answer.
A PUD is its own set of rules. It doesn't follow an LDC
Whatever they put in their PUD, that's.
whatever's approved in the PUD.
Whatever.
So we need to know that
We
before
need to
we
know
accept them to our city,
Okay.
I would think.
And I think it's in that packet. Unfortunately, I left my packet at home with all the.
And I don't mean not to have the answer, but I hear what you're saying, 32 and 35, but obviously, we wouldn't have been approved at this point if we were doing something that was against code in Bay County. And again,
Well, Bay County and Mexico Beach, two different codes.
But they have
but
their
if we're under
PUD.
a PUD,
Yeah.
then under a mixed-use designation, then it changes.
So the PUD drives this because, and when they got their PUD, then they have their marching orders of what they have to march by or can march by. So we can't dictate that because they're, we don't get the, somebody's cut still. That, we don't get the benefit of the permits.
There's plenty of houses up there that are a lot higher than 32 feet.
33rd Street would be any better.
I mean, yeah. there's plenty.
What is the maximum height right now at Sugar Sand?
Well, again, we had to meet, we met with Mexico Beach way back when, and we met at Tyndall Air Force Base. And again, I've had an office over here for 19 years. I understand. Under our PUD, we made sure nothing, no structure can be over 48 feet
I think
anywhere.
Kendall's what's keeping them at 48.
48 feet.
And it's commercial.
Under
It's
mixed use
Commercial.
PUD, it is, anyway.
That was the reason y'all didn't come in with the city, and that was the reason that's what I was told.
I understand that, but we had the height regardless through the PUD. I explained it earlier, I mean, at the time, we weren't asked to annex, and why would we? Because of the, you know, the burden on the taxes being a third ward. We're trying to do that now, and we're willing to do so.
You know, I was advised when y'all came in last time, the reason y'all did not come into the city, and the city did not want y'all to come in, is y'all would not meet our height requirements. Y'all were too high. We lost all that tax money, but we furnished y'all with water, sewer, everything else over there, and have for years. My point, I was just asking that because there seems to be nobody has an answer. What is the highest you are now, and are you gonna go as high as you are in Sugar Sands in the new development?
Nothing on that 227 acres will be more than 48 feet tall.
That's residential or commercial?
Both.
It's
both.
And whether we annex or not, they have an approved PUD from Bay County.
Correct.
They kind of comply with that.
They comply with that, absolutely. Yes, sir?
Yeah, another question. That's a private community, it's a gated community. So I personally, I don't understand what the height difference really means. It's not gonna block any of our views. It's not gonna affect us, I don't think.
And that is, I think, I'm saying something I've not got a fact on, which is, I try not to do that. But, well, the fact is 48 feet is the highest they can go. I think that is dictated, just like ours are dictated by Air Force Base.
Yeah, right.
You know, our commercial can go, or mixed use can go up 48 feet. So it's all relevant there because it was basically the same. We're not gonna.
Well, I think he's answering our question.
Yeah, he's doing well.
You know, as far as I can tell, and he's not asking for anything. I mean, we have other developers here that wants to build bridges that we have to maintain forever, and, yeah, I don't know. So, I appreciate it.
Well, I really appreciate y'all being so sweet. Go ahead,
The
John.
existing PUD boundary, you said that was gonna be what?
That's in conservation. It's part of that first phase. It's already done, but that's all in
So that's
conservation.
part of Sugar Sands.
Correct.
So that will never be built on
No,
this.
the only thing is, no, it won't be, that is a stormwater pond right there.
Yeah.
But all the rest of this is just,
So when you say residential use, instead of homes, you could put condos if you wanted to.
it's already, the condition to be in the plan of single family. I'm not with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
John, all our condos are in commercial use here.
Pardon?
All the condos currently are commercially zoned, during
Right.
commercial zoning. So I don't know that they qualify there, but again, I don't know what their PUD says.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We
But
don't.
our plat,
It's
it's
used as
approved
what it
plat
says.
is single
Yeah.
family. You can see that. I mean, that's recorded.
Chris, what's the maximum use, what is the maximum height we can build in Mexico?
It's in the 48.
We go to 48?
For commercial mixed use.
Yeah,
Commercial mixed use, it's 48, everything else is 32.
All right. Any other questions? Again, I appreciate y'all being so kind and informative and asking questions I wouldn't have thought about, so that's very beneficial to us. Yes, sir.
I'm just asking if you're gonna open up for comment.
Open up for comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing.
You've been at, I thought we were open for questions.
Oh, whatever you need. Comments, questions, this is your time. This is for you.
Excuse me,
But play nice.
excuse me.
It's not a public hearing.
It's not a public
Thank
hearing.
you, Brett.
I just want to address the council. Okay?
Okay.
And I have three
Absolutely.
issues. And I want to start out by admonishing you guys. When you first assumed office, I recommended you develop a master growth plan. It hasn't been done. If that had been done, a lot of what we're concerned and gnashing our teeth about and everything tonight would already be answered. we're not gonna have to go through the nut roll we're gonna have to go through for this. So again, I would advise you to have somebody appointed to develop a master growth plan. Okay, the second thing is, now I know that you're anxious to get this done, and I appreciate everything you've done in the past. But like Alex said, this is news to us. So the ball is in our court now. And this is going to take careful consideration by the council. So I would urge you to take all the time we need to look at everything that's involved and then come up with the best solution. You've got 3 possible choices. Make them known to the people in the city so they can talk those things over with you and everything else. Now, on your August 8th meeting, when this was first brought up, I know you all discussed having a panel of experts sit down and go over all the issues here and then come up with a recommendation. Well, I mean, you do need some experts, like a legal land expert, stuff like that. But I would also ask you to include an average citizen that's got a history of what's going on in Mexico Beach, because they don't have a dog in the fight. All they want is what's best for the city. And they may be able to put some new stuff in here that your experts would not consider. So that's what I'd like to leave you with. And again, every time we come up to a planning thing, I'll say this again. It always works best if you plan for the worst and hope for the best.
Thank you. I do want to say, Mr. Bush, I think it was my 2nd or 3rd meeting and several discussions with Doug and Michael, that I want really to put together a community planning development team that includes citizens and experts so that we could do better planning for the city.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
On this subject of the master plan that you were discussing, and the committee you're talking about forming would probably work well together, but the CPTA grant that the city's received, it'll be on the next city council agenda to go out for RFQ for that. But the city's received $75,000 in grant funds to put together a master plan, and we'll hire a consultant, and they'll be doing surveys with the citizens. There'll also be several public hearings, and it will start that whole process of developing a master plan.
Yeah, I know that we've been discussing this, particularly in comments from people that are not on the council, that we've been after this master plan for well over a year.
You'll see the RFQ at the next meeting.
Very good. Anything else? Any other comments, concerns?
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
This, everybody keeps directing to him that this is new to us. That had nothing to do with him.
No.
That was the previous administration.
Yeah.
They
When
came
I
to
got
us
it-
in March,
When I got it,
and the previous administration was gone in April. Or the other mayor, the other 2 people who are no longer with us here at this table.
no, but it just took a little while to get it to the table. So, anything else? Anybody else? Any comments? Any concerns? How are y'all feeling today? Y'all okay? Well, I'm sure that we're going to be talking more. You've got all of our numbers and email addresses. We hear from you a lot. We continue to enjoy hearing from you. So, if that's anything at the table before we adjourn.
Only, it was kind of a surprise to know that there were proposals, okay? That has nothing to do with you. I mean, as a council member, I feel a little left out. And that's exactly what we don't want to do.
Exactly.
We don't want to be left out. We want to make these decisions. Now we have to read proposals and rush through something.
I will say that I think that the other two of the 3 proposals came before this current elected body. They have been good. I mean, the wheels are in motion now, and I think the 3rd option is the one that the city desires, but anyway, it has been quicker here as of late.
My point is, there's backdoor stuff going on, and there's stuff coming in that's not being communicated to council. That's an issue.
Let me just say, I don't think there was any backdoor issues. It's just
All I'm saying is this is where the communication is done, right here.
I know.
Other than that, it's sunshine law.
Exactly.
We've had turnover with our administrators and everything like that. I don't do anything unless I'm told.
He didn't, I
that
got here in April, he didn't leave until June, and I hadn't heard anything about it. I'm just saying, I think you can
I guess
communicate
the-
better, and I'm sure Chris is gonna do an excellent job of communicating with all of us. But I'm very, very transparent, and I think everybody here wants to be transparent. That's why y'all are here, we wanna be transparent. I asked him to come here, he actually didn't really want to come, and I don't blame him, you know. So we hadn't beat you up, right? So, you know.
If we can be constructive, if it takes 10 days or 30 days, that's what it's all about, so.
Yeah,
I appreciate the time.
we're gonna get you.
People that was previously involved, the administration,
We can't take care of that.
it's in town. I mean, they're local, they're a citizen now. They have, you know, skin in the game as well. There's nothing wrong with asking them to come to a public meeting and speak and share and extend that knowledge here so you can better make decisions. You've got a mayor that can come, you've got other city council members. Thank you for being here and remaining engaged. But I mean, it doesn't have to be like you jumped off a cliff and okay, we're a brand new administration. You know, part of this city is to make sure it's running smoothly. And you do that through effective communication. And you may or may not have to agree on what they say, but there's knowledge to be shared. And that wisdom means a lot. So please engage the people, the key players, so that things can be expedited and people aren't having to wait 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, just
You
to
can
get things
see,
accomplished.
and this isn't Chris, but you can see that apparently the administration had some type of contact and discussions that other administrators were not involved in, and that's sad, but we're not gonna do that here now. We're gonna move forward, we're gonna have good communications, I hope. So that's what you're here tonight for, and I do appreciate everybody coming and being here and sharing. All right, so move to adjourn.
So moved.